my child. Before the world ever had a word to describe you, I already had one. Mine. Before a name was spoken over you, before opinions were formed, before the world reached in to shape you, I had already whispered yes over your spirit. Not a tentative yes, not a cautious yes, but a yes born of certainty, born of eternity. A yes that stretched across time and wrapped itself around your future. You've wondered if you were too early or too late, if you missed the window, if you heard me wrong. But I tell you now, you were always on time for the rhythm I wrote, for your life. I know the ache that settles in your chest when others see only fragments of the full picture I'm painting. I know the questions you bury beneath performance, behind smiles, beneath faith-filled declarations. You've tried so hard to believe even when belief felt like holding sand in your hands, slipping through while you're still clenching it tight. But here's the truth. I need you to remember, you don't carry yourself. I carry you. I carry your calling like I carried creation, with intentionality, with tenderness, with precision. You were not formed out of convenience. You were formed out of covenant, out of the eternal echo of my word, the word that never returns void. That same word speaks again now. You are chosen, not after you fix yourself, not once you've figured it all out, but now, in this moment, with your trembling hands, your half-finished thoughts, your fragile hope. Now you are chosen, and I want you to hear this clearly. My voice over you is not conditional. I don't change my mind like man does. I don't speak and then retract. I don't call and then reconsider. When I said come, I meant forever. So let's begin again, not at the place of performance, but at the place of identity. You were always meant to begin here, at the still, sacred place where I breathe over your spirit. You are mine, not because you earned it, but because you are loved. You've asked me, why me? You've stared at ceilings in the night wondering what I saw that made me think you were fit for the weight you're carrying. Let me answer you plainly. I saw you before you broke. I saw the light I placed in you before the shadows came. I saw the purity of your longing before the world taught you how to mask it. I saw the fire I lit in your belly before you learned to call it too much. I saw the tears you cried in silence and the faith you held when no one applauded it. I don't call those who are qualified by the world's standards. I qualify those who have been willing to be undone in my presence. Those who aren't afraid to be broken bread and poured out wine. You, my child, have been willing. Even in your stumbling, even in your questions, even in your silence. You didn't run from me. You whispered yes through tears. You held on when nothing made sense, and that whisper? I heard it louder than a shout. That yes was not overlooked in heaven. It was recorded, marked, celebrated. Let me tell you a secret. Not every whisper reaches me, but yours did. Because you didn't say yes for the stage, you said yes for the secret place. You didn't say yes for applause, you said yes for presence. And so now I come, not with pressure, but with promise. Not with demands, but with destiny. I come to remind you that the yes you gave in private is about to echo in places you never imagined. But before the echo, there is intimacy. And this is where we start. Not with a plan, not with a platform, not with a perfect version of you, but with you. Raw, real, yielded. You see, I'm not afraid of your unfinished places. I'm not intimidated by your process. I don't need your strength. I want your surrender. I don't need your perfection. I want your presence. Be with me here. Let the striving fall. Let the masks drop. Let the pressure dissolve. You were not born to prove yourself. You were born to reflect me. The world has been trying to name you, but I've already called you by name. I called you restorer when all you saw was ruin. I called you voice when all you heard was silence. I called you healer even as you nursed your own wounds. I called you warrior in the moments you felt the weakest, and every name I've called you is still true. Not because of what you feel, but because of who I am. So return now, not to who you were, but to who I said you are. Come back to the altar, not to ask for more, but to remember what I've already spoken. You are not being shaped for mere survival. You are being shaped for significance. And yes, it will cost you something. But what you gain, intimacy with me, clarity of purpose, unshakable identity, will be worth more than what you lose. Let me walk with you through the parts of your heart that still flinch at the idea of being seen. The parts that hide not from pride but from pain. The rooms within where you've stored disappointment like relics from a war you never got credit for fighting. I want to sit with you there, because before I give you more to carry, I want to make sure your soul is free enough to carry it well, not in haste but in health, not from burnout but from belovedness. And yes, the path ahead will stretch you, but you won't be walking it alone. You're not stepping into a spotlight. You're stepping into an assignment, one that doesn't require your performance, only your participation, one that doesn't demand perfection, only your posture. So posture your heart again, not in fear, but in faith, because I'm not just sending you somewhere. I'm forming you into someone who no longer bends to the pressure of being palatable but walks confidently in the truth of being planted. Planted where? In my love. And my love doesn't expire. My love doesn't shift with opinion. My love doesn't need performance to sustain it. Let this be the truth that grounds you as you move forward. You were called by a whisper, not by a crowd. And if the whisper was enough to call you, then the whisper will be enough to keep you. So, let me whisper again, this time not just to your ears, but to your roots. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. You are mine. And that is enough. My child, I know what it's like to wait for a word that doesn't come. I know how heavy silence can feel when you've been faithful. When you've shown up, poured out, obeyed without fanfare, and the heavens seem still. When you whisper prayers into the dark and only hear the echo of your own voice. I know the ache of waiting, the confusion that rises when my voice seems hidden, when my hand seems still, when your heart cries out, God, where are you? Let me answer that now. Not with thunder, not with flashing signs, but with truth. Never left. My presence does not flee when your clarity fades. I don't disappear when your feelings shift. I'm not silent because I am absent. I am silent because I am nearer than breath. The silence you fear is not a punishment. It's a passage into deeper trust. You've been taught that hearing me should always feel loud, clear, confirmed. But I am not only in the fire, I am not only in the wind, I am not only in the earthquake, I am in the still small whisper, and sometimes I quiet everything else so you'll finally notice it. You asked me for answers. I offered you presence. You wanted clarity. I extended companionship, because what you need more than understanding is unshakable communion. What you crave more than explanation is intimacy that does not depend on outcomes. I have not forgotten you. I am forming you. And formation takes place in silence far more than in celebration. It's in the quiet that the roots go deep. It's in the hidden that the soul learns its true sound. It's in the spaces where the crowd has left and the lights are off that you learn my voice isn't just a moment, it's a melody. And you, my child, are learning to hum along even when the lyrics aren't clear. I never stopped speaking. I've just been teaching you how to listen differently, not with your ears, but with your heart, not with your fear, but with your faith. You've mistaken my stillness for absence, but what if I told you it's an invitation to lean closer, to go deeper, to listen past the noise of your own expectations and into the realm where faith becomes more than a concept. It becomes breath, Because I'm not only forming your path, I'm forming your posture. And that posture, child, must be rooted not in your ability to hear me on demand, but in your willingness to believe I'm with you no matter what, even when the heavens are quiet, even when the signs don't appear, even when the waiting stretches longer than you thought you could bear. I am there. I was there when you cried with no words left. I was there when your knees hit the floor in surrender, not strength. I was there when you almost convinced yourself that maybe you were too broken, too late, too tired to continue. I was there, and I didn't flinch. I didn't walk away. I didn't start looking for someone else. I stayed. I stay. Because your process does not intimidate me. Your journey does not confuse me. Your weakness does not offend me. I'm not looking for polished. I'm looking for present, and you, my beloved, have remained present even when your hope felt frail. That matters more than you know. You've prayed, God, just say something. Anything. And here is what I say to you now. I am not shaping you into someone who relies on signs. I am forming you into someone who recognizes substance. I am not building a faith that falters when the clouds don't part. I am building a faith that stands firm when the winds howl and the waters rise and the answers still haven't arrived. I am preparing you for purpose, not applause. Because what I've called you to carry in the next season cannot be sustained by emotional highs. It must be rooted in spiritual maturity. And maturity is formed not just by what you receive, but by how you remain. So remain in me. Remain when it's quiet. Remain when you're doubted. Remain when the room doesn't shift. Remain when others are celebrated and you are overlooked. Remain when the path is lonely. Remain when nothing makes sense. Remain, because I am with you. I am the vine, you are the branch. Your fruit does not come from striving. It comes from staying. Let me be your rhythm now. Let me be the voice you trust, even when it's not loud. Let me be the fire in your bones, even when the warmth fades. Let me be the shepherd whose nearness you recognize in the dark. Not just the daylight you've thought, maybe I did something wrong, maybe I missed it. No, child. You didn't miss me. I led you here on purpose. Because silence is not punishment. It's a sacred pause, a divine hush before a holy unveiling. The world rushes. I root. The world demands noise. I develop depth. And I know how painful this has been for you. The unanswered prayers, the confusing delays, the invisible seasons, the questions that never got a reply. I saw every single one. But what you haven't seen is what I've been doing behind the veil. While you waited, I was building. While you cried, I was carving. While you questioned, I was quieting everything that tried to replace my voice in your heart. Not because I was angry, but because I love you too much to let the noise become your compass. You've measured progress by visibility, but I measure it by alignment. And your heart, oh your heart, is more aligned now than it's ever been, because you've learned to stay when you didn't understand. You've learned to trust when nothing changed. You've learned to love me not just for what I do, but for who I am. And that, my child, is what makes you ready. Not because everything makes sense, but because you know how to stay near even when it doesn't. Let me reassure you now, the silence is shifting. The stillness is not the end of the story. But before I lead you into the season of clarity, I want to make sure you don't forget what you learned here. Because one day others will ask you, how did you survive the quiet? How did you keep going when nothing moved? And you'll answer with eyes full of peace. I stayed close. I stayed with him even when it hurt, even when it didn't make sense, even when he felt far, I stayed. And they'll feel the weight of it, because there is a kind of authority that can only be born in hiddenness, a kind of intimacy that is only forged in silence, a kind of maturity that grows in the soil of surrender. And that is what you carry now. Not just a testimony, but a truth that even when heaven is silent, God is never absent. And now, because you stayed, I am beginning to speak again. Not with noise, but with confirmation. Not with hype, but with healing. Not with frenzy, but with fire. The kind that cannot be quenched. The kind that leads others, not to you but to me. You have been faithful in silence, now I am sending you with sound, and the sound you carry will not be noise. It will be anointing, it will not be forced, it will flow, because it comes from me, not from the crowd, not from affirmation, not from applause, just me. And I am enough. My child, let's speak honestly now, not about the plans, but about the pain. Because before you step further into your purpose, we must revisit the furnace that formed you. Not to relive the suffering, but to reclaim its meaning. To gather what was forged in the fire, so you never again mistake survival for defeat. Let me say it clearly. I did not abandon you in the fire. I met you there, and I stayed. Every tear you shed in silence, I caught it. Every cry you held back to stay strong for others, I heard it. Every moment you questioned your worth because of what broke around you, I was there, not watching from a distance, but kneeling beside you in the dust. I know what it cost you. I know the parts of you that cracked in the heat, the hopes that melted, the relationships that could not stand the temperature, the dreams that felt like ashes in your hands. I know it all, and I need you to hear this now. It wasn't wasted, not a single moment. What felt like destruction was actually distillation. What seemed like loss was refinement. I wasn't taking from you to diminish you. I was stripping away what couldn't go where I'm taking you. There are some things that can only be removed by fire, not because you were too impure, but because your calling was too sacred. The fire didn't come to shame you, it came to prepare you, because the oil you carry now, the anointing you bear, and is not light. It's costly, and what costs nothing carries no weight. Let me remind you of my son. Even he passed through the fire. Gethsemane wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The cross wasn't weakness, it was yielded strength. And just like him, you've had your Gethsemane. You've walked your Golgotha, not to be crushed beyond hope, but to be raised in resurrection power. You've wondered, why did it hurt so much? Why did it last so long? Because I was forging you, not just for a moment, but for a movement of truth, a movement of mercy, a movement of clarity in a world drowning in confusion. You don't carry ordinary oil. You carry fire-tested truth. You carry atmosphere-shifting faith. You carry the kind of discernment that only grows in the dark. Yes, the fire stripped things from you. But look closer. It left you with something purer. You now walk lighter, not because you lost yourself, but because you found what mattered. You no longer chase every opportunity, because now you know the value of alignment. You no longer rush to defend your name, because now you understand the weight of peace. You've been refined, not reduced. Let me tell you what else the fire did. It revealed who was real. It exposed what wasn't meant to stay. It showed you which relationships were built on convenience and which ones were forged in covenant. You lost some people in the fire, but you found yourself. You found me. And that is the kind of gain no platform can provide. Don't grieve the letting go. I know it hurt. I saw your loyalty tested. I saw your tears over those who left without explanation. But trust this, I didn't just protect you from them. I protected them from standing in a place they were never called to sustain. I removed what would have cracked under the weight of your next season. You've carried rejection in your hands and still kept them open. That's rare. You've walked through betrayal without turning bitter. That's strength. You've sat with loss and still lifted your eyes to me. That's trust. This is what I mean by refinement. Not just behavior change, but soul transformation. Not just stronger willpower, but holy resilience. You now carry something hell can't counterfeit and man can't fabricate. You've been marked, not by pain, but by my presence in the middle of it. And because you stayed with me in the fire, I'm now trusting you with the flame. Not to burn others, but to illuminate the path. Not to call attention to yourself, but to call others higher. You see, the refining fire wasn't just about you. It was about everyone who will encounter me through the person you've become. It was about legacy, about generational patterns breaking, about strongholds shattering, about cycles ending. You're not just walking out healed, you're walking out commissioned, because I'm sending you to others still trapped in flames to remind them that they're not alone, to show them what it looks like to walk out without the smell of smoke. That's what you carry now. Not just survival, but testimony. Not just healing, but authority. And I know you feel the weight of that. I know there are days when you wonder if you're still too tired, still too raw, still too human to carry something divine. But listen to me, you're not called to carry it alone. I carry it with you. This isn't about you being perfect. This is about you being present, to the call, to the assignment, to the people I've woven into your journey. The fire taught you something else too, to stop idolizing comfort. You've seen that comfort doesn't always mean safety, and challenge doesn't always mean danger. Some of my greatest gifts have been hidden in uncomfortable places. Some of my most precise instructions have been spoken in rooms where you felt like an outsider. But now, because of what you've endured, you recognize me even there. In the stillness, in the solitude, in the struggle. You've learned to hear my voice without needing to understand my reasons, and that, my child, is maturity. So here you are, purified, not perfect, softened, not broken, sharpened, not hardened, and you are ready. Not ready because you know what's coming next, not ready because you have all the answers, but ready because you've been through the fire, and you're still standing. Let me tell you what that makes you. Trustworthy, available, rooted, yielded, and that is enough. The next season will require all of it. Not your credentials, but your consecration. Not your platform, but your posture. Not your performance, but your proximity to me. Stay near. Keep your heart open. Keep your spirit anchored, because what's coming next will not come through striving. It will come through stewardship. And no, one can steward what I've entrusted to you the way you can, because you didn't learn it in theory. You lived it in fire. So carry it now, not with fear, but with faith. Not with apology, but with assurance. Not with ego, but with endurance. Because I am walking with you, and I am not leading you back into the fire. I'm leading you forward, with it. My child, it's time we confront the lie, not the loud ones, the ones that shout condemnation, the ones you've already recognized and rebuked. No, I'm speaking of the subtle ones. The quiet narratives that sit beneath your thoughts like shadows, the ones you've mistaken for personality, the ones that sound so familiar, you've stopped questioning them. I'm not enough. I'm too much. I'll never catch up. If they don't see me, I must not matter. These aren't harmless thoughts. They are agreements, forged in pain, wrapped in experience, disguised as logic, but rooted in deception. They were planted in moments when you were vulnerable, when someone's silence became louder than their support, when their absence made you question your presence, when rejection rewrote the way you saw your reflection. I saw every one of those moments. I didn't cause them, but I'm here to heal what they tried to reshape. Let me say this clearly. You are not who rejection tried to make you. You are not the version of yourself that emerged from years of needing to prove your worth. You are not the mask you learned to wear to avoid being misunderstood. You are not the diminished self you present to avoid making others uncomfortable. I see the weight you carry, the weight of managing your image just to feel safe. You try not to take up too much space. You quiet your voice even when it trembles. With truth, you soften your edges not out of peace but out of fear. Fear that being fully seen means being fully left. Fear that if you are entirely known, you will be entirely rejected. But let me whisper something stronger than fear. You are fully known and still fully mine. There is nothing hidden in you that disqualifies you from the calling I have placed on your life. Nothing. Not your uncertainty, not your story, not your past, not your pain. What man saw as imperfection, I saw as preparation. They saw the awkwardness. I saw the anointing. They saw the stumbles. I saw the strength being shaped. They saw the silence. I heard the yes behind it. You've mistaken invisibility for insignificance. But I hid you not to punish you. I hid you to preserve you. I kept you close while the crowd called for something louder. I covered you while I taught you the rhythm of my whisper. I withheld the platform until the pressure would no longer destroy your peace, because I love you too much to give you visibility that your identity cannot yet sustain. But now I am bringing you into a season where the lie breaks, where your spirit finally sheds the costume of acceptable smallness, where you stop dimming your light to fit into rooms I never sent you to. You don't need to be palatable to be powerful. You don't need to be explained to be anointed. You don't need to wait to be invited to walk in what I've already given you permission for. There is no man-made gate that can keep out what heaven has called forth. You've thought, if they would just believe in me. But what if I told you that their belief was never the foundation? What if I told you that their recognition was not the catalyst, only the confirmation? I have already believed in you, and more than that, I've trusted you with pain that did not make sense, with battles that no one applauded, with burdens you carried with trembling arms, and still you chose me. That's what breaks the lie. The lie says you are fragile, weak, replaceable. But heaven says you are forged, trusted, irreplaceable. You've worn the name, not enough, like a garment. Let me remove it now. You've walked under the weight of too broken to be useful. Let me lift it off you. You've carried the idea that you're only as worthy as your productivity. Let me silence it. You are not your performance. You are not their perception. You are not your failure. You are not your past. You are mine. And in my hands nothing is wasted. Let me show you now how I see you. I see a warrior, not because you fight loud, but because you stand firm when others would have walked away. I see a builder, not of platforms, but of people, of truth, of places where my presence can dwell. I see an intercessor, one who prays even when the answers take years, one who believes even when the ground is dry. I see a prophet, not because you seek attention, but because your spirit groans with words I've placed deep within. I see a leader, not because you demand position, but because you serve when no one else notices. That is who you are. Not the diminished version, not the one that bends to every room, not the one that shrinks when questioned, not the one that settles just to stay included. You are the one I've marked, not with man's approval, but with heaven's endorsement. And that means you're free. Free to take up space. Free to speak when I lead. Free to rest when I say stop. Free to move forward even when no one claps. You're not moving to earn your identity anymore. You're moving from it. So let me teach you how to walk now, not in survival, but in security. Security doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It means fear no longer governs your decisions. Security doesn't mean every voice will approve. It means their disapproval no longer rewrites your direction. Security doesn't mean perfection. It means presence, my presence, your anchor, your compass, your breath. You've broken agreements with the lie before, but now, let me help you dismantle the system it built inside your thinking. No more shrinking. No more second-guessing. No more over-explaining. No more apologizing for your calling. You are not asking for a place. You're already placed. You are not hoping to be chosen, you're already sent. And the ones I send, I also protect. You will not be crushed under the weight of your calling. You will not be lost in the noise of expectation. You will not be swallowed by the opinions of others, because the lie has broken and truth is rising. A new sound is being born in your voice, one that doesn't echo insecurity, but declares identity. One that doesn't waver with public opinion, but steadies with divine assurance. And this voice, your voice, will carry freedom, not just for you, but for others still entangled in the same lie. You're not just being healed. You're being commissioned. So rise now, not in arrogance, but in alignment. Walk now, not to prove, but to proclaim. Speak now, not to impress, but to release what I've placed in your spirit. Because the lie has been broken, the silence has been shattered, and the truth is alive in you. You are who I say you are. Nothing less, nothing else, and nothing can change it. My child, you have not just been waiting, you have been becoming, and now, the time of waiting is giving way to the time of walking, not walking as the version of you that once needed permission to speak, to build, to carry, to dream, but walking as the one I have been forming, in fire, in silence, in hiddenness. You're not stepping into a spotlight. You're stepping into authority, not a power built on pride, not a platform propped up by applause, but authority that flows from alignment, authority that is born from obedience, authority that no man gave and no man can take away. Let me speak plainly now. What I've placed in you is not for decoration. It's for demonstration. You are not entering this next season just to be seen. You are entering it to be sent. There's a difference. Seen demands attention. Sent carries assignment. And I am not sending you to impress. I am sending you to impact. This is why I've been so careful with your journey. Why I didn't allow premature platforms, why I shut doors you prayed would open. Why I withheld affirmation from voices you thought you needed. Because I wasn't building a brand. I was building a vessel. I wasn't preparing you to perform. I was preparing you to transform. And now, because you've been faithful in obscurity, I'm raising your voice in the open. You didn't force this. You didn't manipulate timing. You didn't chase approval. You stayed with me. You yielded when it would have been easier to run. You listened when it would have been easier to fight. You submitted to the process when everything in you cried out for a shortcut. And now I am bringing you forward. Not with fanfare, but with fire. You will begin to feel the shift. The shift from wondering if you carry anything to realizing you carry weight. The shift from whispering your convictions to declaring them with clarity and courage. The shift from second-guessing your voice to speaking like someone who knows who sent them. Because you do know. You know that your source is not crowdsourced. It's not borrowed. It's not built on charisma. It's built on consecration. This authority is not loud. It's not theatrical. It's steady. It's anchored. It shifts atmospheres not by noise but by presence. It causes demons to tremble not because of volume, but because of resonance. the sound of someone whose life agrees with what heaven is saying. That's what you carry now, not just inspiration. You carry agreement with my spirit, and that agreement has power. Power to break cycles, power to heal trauma, power to call others into their rightful identity, power to silence confusion with truth, power to restore dignity where it's been stolen. But with authority comes responsibility, not to strive, but to steward. You must now walk in rhythm with me more closely than ever before. This isn't the time to blend. It's the time to build. This isn't the time to shrink. It's the time to step in, and you won't have to force the door open. I am opening them, myself. Doors that were locked until your spirit was ready. Rooms that would have consumed you had I let you in too soon. Platforms that would have pulled you toward performance had you not been formed in presence. But now, you are ready. You are ready, not because you've arrived. You are ready because you are aligned. You are no longer trying to be seen. You are walking in such still confidence that your very presence shifts the atmosphere. It is not about being the loudest voice. It is about being the clearest echo of mine. You are the one who walked through fire and didn't lose your integrity. You are the one who was overlooked and didn't lose your tenderness. You are the one who was hidden and yet stayed holy. And now I place on your shoulders a mantle, not to crush you, but to clothe you. A mantle of wisdom, a mantle of peace, a mantle of prophetic insight, a mantle of discernment, a mantle of compassion forged in suffering. Don't try to wear it like someone else. Let it fall on you the way I've tailored it to fit. You won't need to justify your position. The oil will speak, the fruit will speak, the peace you carry will speak. You are not an echo of culture. You are a voice of the kingdom. You don't need their approval to take up space. You already carry my permission. And now, I am placing you before kings, not for vanity, but for victory. I am calling you into rooms where the weight on your life will finally make sense. I am aligning you with people who see you, not to control but to cover. I am sending you to those whose chains match your scars, because you carry keys, not theories. You've wept in the dark. Now you will war in the light, and yes, some will still misunderstand. Some will whisper the old names they attach to your process, the ones that no longer describe you. That's not your concern. Your fruit will speak louder than their confusion. So, walk boldly, walk softly, walk with grace. Walk like one who doesn't need to be right, but one who is rooted. Walk like one who knows who holds their future, and whose hands they were formed in, because that's where authority lives, not in volume, but in vulnerability before me. That's what terrifies hell. A soul so surrendered that nothing can manipulate it. A heart so yielded that it cannot be bought. A voice so clear it cuts through noise and brings order where chaos ruled. That's you. You don't just carry a gift. You carry government. The authority of the one who sent you. And now the world will begin to notice what I always knew was there. You're not being elevated to prove anything. You're being positioned to release what I planted. No striving. No selling. Just showing up with me. Let me say it one last time. This is the rise of authority. Not for your name, but for my name through you. Go now. Not to perform, but to release the weight you carry. It's time. My child, you have walked through silence and fire. You have listened through confusion and followed through fear. You've surrendered in the shadows and stayed faithful when no one was watching. And now, as you walk in authority, I need you to understand something sacred. You were never meant to do this alone. I am a God of relationship. I am a God of connection. I am a God who calls people into place and people into purpose. And what I'm unfolding in your life now will not be built through striving. It will be built through divine alignment. There are some connections I've been preparing quietly, just as I was preparing you. People whose hearts I've been working on in parallel with yours. People who don't just complement your gift, they recognize your calling without needing it explained. People who won't compete with your voice, but will cover it. People who won't misunderstand your fire, but will fan it with wisdom and discernment. These are not casual relationships. These are assignments. I've watched you pour into those who couldn't hold the weight of what you carried. I've seen you invest in those who only saw your surface. And I honor your heart. You loved even when it wasn't returned. You gave when it cost you. You stayed when you were unappreciated. But now, I am shifting your circle. Not because you are superior, but because your stewardship requires strategic alignment. The vision I've placed in you can't grow in every environment. The burden I've entrusted to you requires safe soil. The calling on your life will draw people to you, but not all of them are sent. Not all of them can stay, and that's not rejection. It's refinement. I will make it clear. I will speak. Through peace, not pressure. Through resonance, not relevance. You won't need to force it, you won't need to chase it. You'll recognize it. They will carry language that matches what I've been whispering in your spirit. They will speak confirmation, not confusion. They will not be flattered by your fire. They will honor it. And when they see the weight you carry, they won't try to control it. They'll intercede for it. You've longed for relationships like this. You've prayed for friendships that feel like home. You've asked for a tribe who doesn't just accept you, but awakens you. And now, I am answering that prayer. Not all at once, but with precision. Watch how I begin to highlight people in this season. Not the ones who always speak the loudest, but the ones who listen with their spirit. Not the ones who admire your fruit, but the ones who will help protect your roots. Not the ones who want your proximity, but the ones who understand your process. This is what divine appointment looks like. Not convenient connection, but covenantal alignment. I am bringing together kingdom voices, kingdom hearts, kingdom builders, people who don't just want influence but intimacy with me. People who don't just want the result, but who have honored the rhythm of hiddenness and holiness. Some will come from places you didn't expect. Some will arrive wrapped in unfamiliar forms. Do not dismiss what looks different. Discern the fruit, not the packaging. I don't always send help through familiar hands. Sometimes, I use unexpected vessels to unlock new dimensions of purpose. In you, I am weaving a network of faith-filled, fire-tested believers who carry what you need, and who need what you carry. This is a holy exchange. I am connecting burden bearers with vision holders. I am pairing wounded healers with anointed restorers. I am aligning prophetic voices with intercessory shields. I am calling together those who are not impressed with stage, but hungry for substance, and when you meet them, you'll know, and because it won't feel forced, it won't be transactional. It will feel timed, because it is. Some of these appointments will restore what was lost in seasons of betrayal. You've known the ache of broken trust. You've watched people walk away without warning. You've sat in rooms where you were only tolerated, never treasured. But this time, you will be seen rightly. And I'm healing you not just to restore what was lost. I'm healing you so that you can love again without fear, so you can trust again, not blindly but wisely, so you can open your heart without always expecting to be misunderstood. This is part of your rising. Not just rising in visibility, but rising in relational maturity. Because what I'm doing through you will require others. You need voices that can call out blind spots. You need counsel that can discern the times. You need intercession that can war on your behalf when your arms grow tired. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Even my son chose disciples. Even he had circles. The crowd, the 12, the 3. I'm showing you who belongs in which circle. I'm showing you who can walk closely and who must be loved from a distance. not out of bitterness, not from fear, but from clarity. Because when you protect your circle, you protect your clarity. And clarity is the currency of calling. So begin watching for the appointments I've arranged. It may begin with a conversation. It may show up in a shared burden. It may happen through unexpected moments, encounters you almost missed but couldn't shake. And in those moments, lean in, ask me, is this one sent? And I will show you. You won't need to strive for connection. I'm teaching you how to steward it. Be patient. Don't rush to replace what I've removed. Don't force community just to avoid loneliness. I'm not just answering your need for people. I'm fulfilling my plan through partnerships of purpose, and when they come, honor them, pray for them, protect their hearts, speak life, walk humbly, hold nothing out of pride, but serve from overflow. Because the way you honor divine appointments determines the longevity of the assignment. You are not stepping into a solo journey. You are stepping into kingdom movement. And I am bringing the right ones to walk beside you. I'm not above you, not beneath you, but with you. So prepare your heart, not just to lead, but to link. Because this next season will not be built alone. It will be built in alignment. And I have already begun the appointments. My child, now that your voice is rising, now that your steps carry weight, and your name echoes in rooms you once prayed to enter, I must remind you of the one thing that sustains it all, my presence. You are not called to live from pressure. You are called to live from presence. This was never about platforms. It was always about proximity. Because apart from me, even your greatest strength becomes hollow. Your greatest idea becomes fragile. Your greatest gift becomes just performance. And performance, no matter how loud, cannot replace communion. You've learned what it's like to serve without being seen. You've learned what it's like to believe without confirmation. But now you must learn to build without leaving me behind. Let me be clear. What I'm releasing through you cannot be sustained by human effort. Not by momentum, not by applause, not by influence, only by presence. You can preach without me. You can build a name without me. You can manufacture success without me. But you cannot walk in sustained power unless you stay close to me. This is not about a moment with me. This is about a rhythm. Let your life become worship, not just your words. Let your days be anchored in stillness, not just motion. Let your value be found in being with me, not just doing for me. Because what I want most is not your gift. It's you. Not your eloquence, not your strategy, not your sacrifice. You. I want the parts of you that still struggle to trust. The parts that still carry residue from old wounds. The parts you try to keep holy by hiding. I don't need your perfection. I want your presence. I'm not asking you to feel spiritual. I'm asking you to stay surrendered. When you wake, begin with me. Before the phone, before the world's noise, before comparison gets a chance to speak. Let my voice be the first one you hear. It doesn't need to be loud, it doesn't need to be long, just real. Here I am, Lord, lead me, search me, speak to me. Let that be your daily altar, because authority without intimacy is a hollow shell. And I didn't raise you up to burn out. I didn't entrust you with weight so it would crush you. I gave it to you so you could carry me into the earth. But you cannot carry me publicly if you don't dwell with me privately. This next season will require depth. You've prayed for more impact. I'm giving you more intimacy. You've asked for more anointing. I'm drawing you into more awareness. You've longed for miracles. I'm teaching you the miracle of stillness, of peace in the storm, of unshakable joy rooted in me. Because the gift is not the prize. I am. I've watched you run at the pace of purpose. Now I'm calling you to move at the pace of presence. That means rest. Yes, rest. Not because you've earned it, but because it's holy. Rest is not laziness, Rest is trust. When you rest, you declare, God, I trust you to sustain what I'm building. I don't need to hold everything together. I don't need to be everywhere. I don't need to respond to everyone. Rest says, I believe you're God, and I am not. Let that be your posture, because the world will try to pull you into performance. They will say, don't stop now. They will expect constant production. They will praise your hustle. But I am not impressed by hustle. I am moved by honor. And to honor me is to slow down enough to listen, to make time for me in the middle of success, to prioritize me in the middle of momentum, to remain rooted even when things are rising quickly. Because success without presence is just another prison. Let me protect you from that now. Let me guide your pace. There will be moments when I say, pause here. When I say, leave the 99 for the one. When I say, turn off the noise and come sit with me. Honor those moments, because my presence will do more in 5 minutes than your effort can in 5 years. Let me teach you how to hear me in every place. In the car, in the meeting, in the tension, in the stillness. This is what it means to abide. Not occasional encounters, but ongoing communion. You don't need a title for that. You don't need a microphone for that. You just need awareness. And I will meet you, even when your mind is scattered, even when your heart feels heavy, even when your prayers feel clumsy. I'll be there, not to scold, but to center you. You've carried so much. You've done well. But now I'm saying, come sit again, before you lead more, before you speak more, before you plan more. Come, lay your vision down, not to lose it, but to let me breathe on it again. Lay your strategy down, not to abandon it, but to let me refine it. Lay your fear down, not because you're wrong for feeling it, but because you were never meant to carry it alone. Let me remind you, I'm not just your sender, I'm your sustainer. I'm not just your instructor, I'm your intimacy. I'm not just the God of your promise, I'm the God of your present moment. And I long for you, not because I need you, but because I want you. This is what will keep you steady when the doors swing wide. This is what will guard your heart when the crowds grow loud. This is what will root your soul when the pressure rises. My presence is your portion. It's your home. Don't leave it behind. Let it be your compass, your comfort, your rhythm, your rest. Because the promise is not your power. The platform is not your peace. I am, so remain. Remain when it's thrilling. Remain when it's tiring. Remain when it's quiet. Remain when it's loud. And I will remain with you. Every word you speak. Every person you serve. Every assignment you carry. Let it all flow, not from pressure, but from presence. My child, you've remained when it would have been easier to retreat. You've listened when silence was deafening. You've stayed pure when compromise would have been easier. You've allowed me to lead, to heal, to shape, when you had every reason to move ahead in your own strength. And now, heaven speaks one word with finality and fire. Go. Not in haste, not in striving, but in confidence, in authority and peace. You are not launching into something unfamiliar. You are stepping fully into what has always been yours. I'm not sending you to impress. I'm sending you to impact. This is your commissioning. Not by men, by me, not to a stage, but to the sphere I shaped you for, not for applause, but for assignment. Let me be clear. This is not a reward for enduring hardship. It's a reveal, a release, the unveiling of what I have been cultivating for years in the quiet. What you carried in private, the fire, the clarity, the weight, the unshakable conviction, I am now calling it forward publicly, not so you can prove anything. You have nothing left to prove. The people who once questioned you, they no longer hold authority over your identity. The rooms that didn't open before, they were never the foundation of your calling. And now, when you walk in, you won't have to explain yourself. The oil will speak. The fruit will speak. The peace that surrounds your presence will shift the very atmosphere of where I send you. You are not just a name on a list. You are a message, a vessel, a movement of my presence. So go where I send you, even if the path looks unfamiliar. Go where the need is great, even if the audience is small. Go where the broken are buried in silence, even if the crowd is uninterested. Go where my spirit leads, and even if it costs your comfort. You are no longer building from insecurity. You are building from revelation. You are no longer wondering if you're qualified. You are walking in the power of my confirmation. You no longer have to campaign for visibility. Heaven already announced you, so walk through every door I open when without hesitation. And if a door shuts, do not be shaken. I close what no longer aligns with what I've refined in you. What once served you may not carry your next mantle. Trust me when I redirect. It's not loss, it's leading. I have assigned you to people who are waiting for what you carry, not for your personality, not for your image, but for the Spirit of God upon you. There are rooms where confusion rules, and your clarity will be the key. There are people bound in lies, and your voice trained by truth will break chains. There are atmospheres polluted by performance, and your peace will be the counterweight. You carry fire, but not chaos. You carry wisdom, but not pride. You carry power, but not ego. And that is why I trust you. That is why I'm commissioning you now. You've passed the hidden tests. The test of delayed timing. The test of being overlooked. The test of staying kind when misunderstood. The test of choosing presence over popularity. The test of obedience in obscurity. And now I give you this. Go with grace. Go with discipline. Go with discernment. Go with rest. Go with my Spirit upon you. You won't have to kick doors open. I will swing them wide. You won't have to manipulate the path. I will straighten it before your feet. You won't have to shout for recognition. Your fruit will whisper my name louder than your voice ever could. Let me remind you again, you are not a backup plan. You are not a substitute. You are not filling a gap someone else left behind. You are my first choice. I've written your name on places you've never walked yet. I've assigned you to burdens that will awaken your deepest joy. I've prepared provision that will meet you at every corner. I've aligned relationships that will strengthen you with wisdom and purity, and I will go with you. Every step, every room, every moment. This is your sending. Not into performance, not into production, but into purpose, anchored by presence. So take your place, not above others, not beneath, but in alignment with me. Don't minimize what you carry. Don't shrink for familiarity. Don't explain away what I've confirmed. Don't apologize for your voice. Don't dilute your message to appease comfort. Don't edit your anointing to make others more comfortable. You are not offensive. You are effective. And the truth you carry, it will not return void. When you speak, heaven will respond. When you move, angels will go before you. When you pray, chains will break. When you declare, confusion will be silenced. And all of this, not because of who you are alone, but because of who you belong to. You are mine. Marked by mercy, covered in covenant, rooted in truth, released in power. So walk now, slowly, steadily, securely, not rushed, not desperate, not unsure, but sure. Sure of the one who called you, sure of the one who formed you, sure of the one who sustains you, sure of the one who goes with you. And when they ask, when did it all change? When did you rise? You'll say with peace in your eyes, it wasn't the moment I was seen. It was the moment I stayed. It was when I chose presence over platform. It was when I stopped proving and started trusting. It was when I finally believed I was already sent. So go, my child. You are not stepping into potential. You are stepping into promise. You are not beginning. You are releasing. You are not trying anymore. You are testifying. And this time, the fruit will speak, the oil will flow, and the kingdom will advance. Let heaven mark this moment. This is your commissioning, and I will meet you in every step. You are ready.